These are the plaintiffs, Dante McDonald and Soraya Johnson. Soraya says she gave the defendant a deposit on a house they wanted to rent. But once they found out the house was in the direct path of Hurricane Sandy, they requested an inspection for mold. That's when the defendant got all weird on them, and they got the funny feeling this wasn't the right place for them. The defendant never responded to their inspection request. They pulled out of the deal because of it, and now can't get their $1,000 back. So they're suing. This is the defendant, Joseph Anello. He says the plaintiffs never mentioned anything about a mold inspection. They just simply called him and told him they changed their mind about renting the house. He went above and beyond getting the place ready for these people, and he refuses to return a penny to them. He's accused of making a mountain out of a mold hill. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $1,200 for 1 month's lost rent.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiffs gave the defendant money for an apartment they wanted to rent, but later found out it had been in the path of Hurricane Sandy, so they wanted a mold inspection, which they never got. Now, the defendant says they just changed their mind, so tough. It's the case of breaking the mold.
Dante McDonald?
Dante.
Dante with an E?
No, with an A.
With an A, all right. Dante McDonald and Soraya Johnson.
Yes.
Okay, you are suing Joseph Anello, your would-be landlord, for $1,000 security deposit that you left with him that you want returned to you, and he will not return. You have a counterclaim against him for $1,200 in lost rent. Let me hear from you first. What's going on?
Okay, on December 27th of 2013, we went and viewed his house, and it was a nice house or whatever. I asked him while we were there if did it get affected by Sandy or anything, and he just said that just the heater had went out. And so I was like, okay. So we looked through it.
Did you sign anything?
We had like something that Dante signed when he went back to drop off the security deposit, because he told us to just give him $1,000 for security because it hadn't passed inspection for somebody to live there yet. Because he hasn't had.
Was it new or it had been repaired from Sandy?
No, he hasn't had anybody in there since December of 2012. He said.
All right, let me see what you got there.
When Dante went back to give him the money order, he showed him like a crack in the tile in the kitchen that he had covered up when we both had went. It was covered up by something. And he showed him that the sink in the kitchen was loose and needed to be recaulked around. And then in the bathtub.
The stove.
Oh yeah, the stove only had two burners that worked.
So I was like, before I gave him the money, I said, you know what? We not really feeling this right now because it seemed like it got a lot of work to do, right? So he was like, we work something out. If you fix the door, paint, and clean the carpet when you live here, then we'll break it down to $1,100 a month for the first year. I said, okay, that's cool, okay? He said the past inspection, this crack on the floor needed to be fixed. I said, that's it? He said, yeah, just fix the crack on the floor and it'll pass inspection. So
who was going to fix the crack?
I was going to fix the crack.
He was going to fix the crack.
I was going to fix the crack because he's like, I'm too old, you know. I can't. I said, listen, if you're going to give me $1,100 a month for a year, I'll fix the crack, you know. I was going to paint it anyway. Even if the carpet was clean, I was still going to get the carpet clean because you have a newborn, you know. So he called me
like a day or two later and asked him to for us to meet him at the casino to sign the lease. And it had never passed inspection. It was only like a day after.
Right, but you know it wasn't going to pass inspection because according to you, you were supposed to fix the crack for it to pass inspection.
Right.
You know
we didn't sign the lease.
We didn't sign it yet. I told him.
Oh, you were saying, no, you're rushing me into the lease.
Right.
I'm not going to sign it.
You're not going to sign yet.
Right.
I said, I just got to fix that crack. No, you got to paint, fix the door, and clean the carpet to pass inspection. I said, no, that wasn't an agreement. You just told me to fix the crack. No, you must have understood me. No, I did not misunderstood you. So, I said, you know what? It was the.
But she had said that you guys were going to paint.
No, but he said
you just figured you'd do that in your own time later.
He said, you know, just the
He
pass
said the
inspection.
only thing that needed to be done to pass inspection was the crack in the floor.
The floor.
So after he comes back and he tells me about all that, I said, well, I was trying to figure out if when they do the inspection for somebody to live there, if they do like an in-depth look for mold. So I told Dante to tell him, well, I want an inspection done for mold also, just to make sure. And so, and then also he had went past the house one day And one of the neighbors told him that Sandy hit that area really bad and flooded really bad. So I'm like, okay, well, I definitely need a mold report because according to him, there was nothing wrong, which means he probably didn't fix anything after the hurricane. So we're like going back and forth. Well, we're calling him.
You could get your own mold report. Like,
well, yeah, but I didn't want to risk moving in.
Well, no, I know that, but you're like kind of changing the ground rules at that point. But,
but it was
in any event, did you ever see a CO?
No.
What's going on?
I mentioned to Mr. Dan DeClaire, in order to me to prepare the CO, I want to see if you're serious, we make a binder. Binder, I met her, and I asked for $1,000 because I have a more possible future tenants. They want to sell the house. I was ready to rent it to somebody else. So I sat with him because he gave me $1,000 a binder, and I told him, well, the binder is a big deductible from the rent, but not refundable, because I engage with you.
That's fine. I understand everything you're saying. And in a normal case, if they change their minds, too bad for them. What I'm trying to get at, though, is you can't collect rent unless you have a CO. So at some point, did you get the CO?
No, because he changed his mind. In order to get CO, I have to put a name of who occupy the house and all the family member. I got to put all the name, a child, adult, who going to live in the house. Then I submit to the town. The town give them a 5 days time.
Right. So between the time he gave you the $1,000, when he gave you the $1,000, why didn't you just do that and apply for the CO?
Okay, so the defendant did not have a certificate of occupancy. We know that. The question, can the plaintiffs now turn around and say, we want our deposit back because, the way we view it, this is an illegal apartment. It doesn't matter what our reasons are for getting out.
I would say no, because you do need something in writing. Otherwise,
they got a lease. The thing is, they say that the writing that the defendant doesn't have is a certificate of occupancy.
Well, I think they should get their money back because they never really moved in, so.
Well, but sometimes you don't move in, but you don't have a good reason for not moving in. Is this a good reason?
they need to get their money back. The owners didn't reveal everything. They were deceitful.
Yeah. Fair enough. Going inside the courtroom.
First, I got to repair the damage, which he's supposed to do. Then he changed his mind. I said, if you take us to this, I charge you $1,100 and $12 for 1 year.
Yeah, but you can't take it. He can't take it, quote, as is, because you can't get a CO as is.
No, but it was understand it clear. You can't go in. You can't have no access on a house till we have a CO. I mark off here.
Yeah, I know you said that. So you can't get rent doesn't start till I have a CO, and yet when they want their money back, you're keeping it as a breach of contract for rent.
He canceled the binder agreement, verbal and signed, to rent my house. He says, I don't want your house anymore. I lost my job.
Okay. Let's say that is true, that they just changed their mind, not that they started getting nervous about the place. They totally changed their minds. Okay. You're keeping the $1,000 security deposit as rent.
That's not security.
What is it?
That's binder money.
Binder money. You can. I don't even know what that means. Like you keep it because you wanna. What is it for?
I binder money to put a solid deal, condition temporary till the lease would be prepared and signed.
Read to me what you wrote here, because I can't understand it.
Yeah, I can read.
Okay.
Receive a bind $1,000 deductible, but not refundable.
They don't say that.
Rent to start.
Received as binder, BIANDER.
Yeah, well, probably I spelled wrong.
$1,000
deductible, but not refundable.
But not.
Rent to start after CO. As soon as I prepare a CO.
Okay, but can I ask you a question? Where's all the stuff about how he's responsible to make everything right in order for you to get a CO? It's the landlord's responsibility to get a CO. You never got a CO.
There was a verbal agreement. That's why I said, I'll give you for $1,100. Then, a day after, I called him. I said, in order for me to give you the key to you prepare what has to be repaired, you got to turn around the electric and the gas in your name. He says, no, I changed your mind.
Okay, Mr. Anello, no. No. Here's how it works. You get a CO, then you rent it out. You didn't get a CO, you're not going to rent it out. You have a piece of paper where you wrote, the $1,000 is a binder. I don't know what in your mind that binder means. The bottom line is you're a landlord. You have to have a CO in order to rent it out. It's not going to be rented out because you didn't get a CO. You have this side agreement with them where he's going to do this, he's going to do that. None of it's in writing. He says all he was supposed to do was fix a crack, but that you then said to him, no, you got to paint, you got to this, you got to that, you got to. What else do they have to do for you to get a CO, for you to rent it, for you to collect rent? Return their $1,000, and on your counterclaim against them for rent on a place that you still don't have a CO, no. Verdict for the plaintiffs.
Thank you.
All right, hold on both sides.
All right, so the defendant comes out here and joins us in the hallway. Come on out. Come on. Bring your hat. Come. All right, he's the defendant here. You understand the ruling?
Sure, I understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, for some reason, Mr. Danda not catch it the right way, or make believe not catch it the right way. Was it clear, understandable fix? I charge $1,100. If I fix, I charge $1,200.
No, but the judge just told you, no CO, no binder.
I can't make the CO before he signed the lease. You want to give him a chance to prepare the lease. He changed your mind before the time.
So you're going to get a CO on this place?
For another tenants, and not for him.
All right, right down there.
Thank you.
All right, so step in here. So the judge sees things your way. You satisfied how this comes out?
Yes, I am.
All right. Did you have your suspicions about, what about the mold situation?
Well, it's that area, some parts of it floods, some parts don't. So I wasn't sure about C&D and how bad it did, but once the neighbor definitely told me yes, it did flood. So I'm like.
And so how's the little one now?
He's good. He's in the back.
He's in the back, and
That's his money for the record. That's his $1,000 he's getting back.
Okay. All right, Harvey.
Okay, Kurt, so here's the thing. The entire deal here can be revoked because the essence of the deal is illegal. You are not allowed to rent an apartment under the law that doesn't have a certificate of occupancy. So it's an illegal contract in a sense, and that means you bring them back to where they were before the deal was made.